Welcome to the musical, The Melodies and Memories of Laura Ingalls Wilder by the Reforms. We're so excited to have you all here. We ask that you would all please turn off your cell phones if you're able, because they can sometimes interfere with the microphones. Again, welcome, and we hope you enjoy the musical. Prayer by Benjamin. To open.
Dear Father, thank you that we can be here today. Please us that we may be guided and directed, that we may be able to best perform our abilities in this play. And please us that we may have thy Spirit to be with us, and that we may see change and hope come into those who need it, and please us that you may be with us, and that all will go well, and that all of our actors may be saved. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
How many of you have heard of Laura Ingalls Wilder? Since the publication of her first book, Little House in the Big Woods, Laura Ingalls Wilder's books have been continually in print for over 80 years and remain in high demand even today. Who could have imagined they'd be so popular? There's no superpowers, high-speed chases, or even a villain, unless you count Nellie. There is something about Laura's stories that people can relate to. I'd say so. In fact, her books have been translated into over 40 different languages and published around the world. That's impressive. As Laura's following grew, people wanted to learn more about the simple yet well-versed woman. Over the years, much has been written about her and her family. There are even books about her books. There are parades and festivals held in her honor, and in her hometown of DeSmet, you can visit the old Ingalls family homestead. Looking over the rolling grassland, it's easy to imagine Laura walking across the prairie to the one-room schoolhouse miles away. Exciting, not in the way some people needed, but yes, when something was interesting, it was exciting. Laura loved her simple life, and her stories reflect that. That's just it. Her life was simple. In her day, she was just an ordinary girl with extraordinary powers of observation. Agreed. There is one part of Laura's life, though, that she couldn't capture in ink. Despite her best efforts, as we read her books, the melodies she spoke of elude us, and we're left to wonder about the music she loved so dearly. In her original manuscript, Pioneer Girl Laura writes, "One night,
Mary lay sleeping beside me, but I lay awake, looking through the bedroom door at the flickering firelight and the shadows moving in the room outside. Paul was sitting in the shadows, where I couldn't see him, but I could hear his fiddle singing. The music was so beautiful, it made my throat ache."
Listen to this excerpt from The Little Town in the Big Woods. Laura could hardly bear the sadness of the song while she sleep. Her throat swelled and ached. A tear glittered on Ma's cheek before she could catch it with her handkerchief. All the women were wiping their eyes, and all the men were clearing their throats and blowing their noses. That is beautiful. Laura's heartfelt narrative captured the essence of the human soul. Undoubtedly, she was inspired by the music that accompanied courtships, celebrated joys, and encouraged efforts. She knew music's power to quicken recollections, strengthen sentiments, and erase time's passage.
Whenever I hear that song, I'm a child again in my mother's arms. I will never forget the sound of her voice. It accompanies so many of the memories of my life.
Simple life, a familiar story. The story of
Laura
Ingalls Wilder.
Good morning, Mrs. Wilder. Good morning, Rose. How are you doing this Friday? Here you are.
Good morning, Albert. I'm grateful to see the snow has melted.
Yes, it looks like spring is finally here. Thank you for bringing Mother's mail.
Indeed, the breeze has lost its bite altogether.
Oh, look at this postage mark. It's all the way from France.
Here's another invitation to speak. Mother, I think you should decline. Chicago's too far a distance to travel for a woman your age.
Mrs. Wilder, did you have any idea so many people would love your books?
No, not at first. I never realized so many people would be interested in my stories.
They do provide a glimpse into an unprecedented time in American history.
Only in hindsight did I recognize the historical significance of my life. I realized what a wonderful child that I had had. How I had seen the whole frontier, the woods, the Indian country of the Great Plains, the frontier towns, the building of railroads in wild, unsettled country, the homesteading and farmers coming in to take possession. I realized that my childhood represented a whole period of American history. I had seen it and lived it all.
In the little house on the prairie. The story of a farmer boy.
The dugout home on the banks of Plum Creek.
The story of life in a clam shanty by the shores of Silver Lake.
The story of the long winter endured while living in the little town on the prairie.
And all the stories of the happy golden years of Laura's life.
Golden years are passing by, happy golden years, passing on the wings of time, these happy golden years. Call them back as they go by, sweet the memories are, all improve them as they fly, these happy golden years. Golden years, happy golden years. All improve them as they fly, these happy golden years.
Golden years are passing by, precious, precious golden years. Let no idle hour be spent with sorrow, grief, and fear.
Call them back as they go by, sweet the memories are. All improve them as they fly, these happy golden years. Golden years, happy golden years. All improve them as they fly, these happy golden years.
Mother wanted me to check on you. How are you doing, Mrs. Wilder? I noticed Albert brought you quite a stack of letters today, Mrs. Wilder. Are they all about your books?
Oh, thank you, Annie. Tell your mother I'm doing quite well today. And about the letters, I reckon most are about my books.
How many letters do you suppose she's received? I know I've personally delivered thousands and thousands.
She hasn't kept track. They come from children all over the world.
Listen Mrs. Wilder.
My teacher read us the book, Little House in the Big Woods, and I would like to know if you have any more books like it. For I enjoyed the book very much. I wish it would never come to an end, for it was so good.
I'm amazed and delighted at their enthusiasm.
I'm amazed you take the time to personally answer each and every letter.
November 3rd, 1942. My dear Mrs. Wilder, I am a little girl, 13 years of age. I have read many books, but I still class the pioneer set that you wrote among my favorites. I don't know all the languages, as my sisters and I call them. But we all agree that you should write at least one more book to marry her off. You see, I usually get one of us at each Christmas. And I don't know what I should do this Christmas if I don't have one. I don't know why I am so bold to write you, but I am. So here's lots of love and many best wishes from your true admirer, Ruby.
November 12th, 1942. My dearest Ruby, I am so glad you like my books. I have written the one more book you wanted to finish the story. It will be published this month. I hope you get it for Christmas and like it as well as the others. Sincerely yours, Laura Ingalls Wilder, Rocky Ridge Farm, Mansfield, Missouri.
Oh, I almost forgot. Today there's a package.
Oh, good. I've been expecting something. Rose, will you open this for me? Oh dear. How will I answer this one?
Dear Mrs. Wilder, I can imagine it all just like it happened, except for the music. What did it sound like?
It requires more than pen and ink to share a melody. Not everything can be recorded in words.
The great author Van Hugo once said, music expresses that which cannot be spoken, which is impossible to be silenced. There's more. What was your favorite song that your pop played?
I didn't have a favorite. They were all perfect for the occasion they suited.
What's that one? It seems familiar.
My heart is sair, an old Scottish tune.
My heart is what?
Sair,
Sair?
you know, feelings, the throbbing of a heart. I suppose today you'd call it a crush. What's all this simpering? Can't imagine an old lady like me taking a fancy to a fella. Well, I couldn't either, not until Nellie poked her nose in. You know, I wasn't always old. Only the parts on the outside feel old. Everything feels just the same as it always has. Some things never change.
Evening, Miss Olson.
Mr. Wilder!
Evening, Miss Ingalls.
Evening, Mr. Wilder.
Laura! Alonzo! You can call me Nellie.
Evening, Nellie.